All right, everybody, welcome back. We are officially at episode 20.
Wow,
20 deep dives into Iranian things.
that's amazing.
I'm Kia Mars,
I am 10 Nas.
and we are happy to have you back again with us. We really love exploring all the hidden treasures of Iran, things that people don't really talk about, things that are a little bit more niche.
Yes.
Recently, we've been exploring a lot of Iranian folklore mythology and cryptozoology.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a ton of fun. And today we're going to be continuing that trend and talking about a creature from Afghan folklore. Now, some of you may be thinking, wait a second, Afghan folklore, this is Iranian things. What's going on?
Yeah.
Well, historically, Afghanistan was part of the Persian Empire. So their culture and traditions are very much intertwined with Iranian history and culture.
Absolutely. And what we're going to be talking about today, the Nām-Gir, is a fascinating example of that.
Yeah, so for those of you who haven't heard of the Nām-Gir, what is it?
Well, it's a creature that's very similar to a jinn.
Okay, hold on for a second. For people who are listening who maybe are not familiar with Islamic or Middle Eastern folklore, what is a jinn?
A jinn is a supernatural creature. They are made of smokeless fire, and they can be either good or bad. So sometimes they help humans, sometimes they cause trouble.
Kind of like trickster spirits in some ways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're in a lot of different stories in Middle Eastern folklore. And the Nām-Gir is a creature that is similar to a jinn, but it has a particular way of possessing humans that is really quite creepy. So basically, you're going about your day and you hear your name called out, not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah, that would definitely freak me out.
Yeah, that's setting off some alarm bells already.
Right. And if you answer yes each time your name is called, the Nām-Gir basically wins. It takes possession of you.
So if I'm walking down the street and I hear my name called 3 times,
Yeah,
and I say yes each time, that's it. I'm possessed.
pretty much. Yeah.
That is terrifying.
It is terrifying, and it gets worse. The Nām-Gir doesn't just want to possess your body, it actually steals your name and basically your whole life. You become like a puppet, and the Nām-Gir controls everything you do. So you have no free will whatsoever. And the Nām-Gir, while it's in control, can do some pretty horrible things.
That's awful. I mean, you're basically losing yourself. Like, what happens to the actual person who is possessed?
They're completely powerless. They're basically trapped inside their own body while this creature is in control. It's like a living nightmare.
That's a terrifying thought. It really makes you think about identity and free will and everything that makes us human. So this belief in the Nām-Gir, it must have a big impact on the culture. Like, what do people do to protect themselves?
It's a huge part of Afghan folklore. And it's not just a scary story. It's something that people genuinely believe in, and it affects their everyday lives. Some people believe that if you say yes out loud for no reason, you might be inviting the Nām-Gir to come and possess you.
So you can't even just say yes in a casual conversation.
Well, you can, but you have to be careful. Some people will cover their mouths if they think they might accidentally say yes.
That's wild. So this creature, it really has a hold on people's imaginations.
It does. I mean, it really speaks to that deep-seated fear of losing yourself, of having your identity stolen.
And that's something that we see in folklore all over the world, like
Yeah.
shapeshifters, doppelgangers,
Mhm.
even some ideas about demonic possession in Western cultures. It's like this universal fear of the unknown and the possibility of losing control.
Absolutely.
And, on a psychological level, it's really interesting to think about what this belief says about human nature. Like, we're so afraid of losing our sense of self
Yeah.
that we create these stories to help us cope with that fear.
Exactly. And I think it's fascinating how this particular belief in the Nām-Gir blends ancient Persian beliefs with Islamic influences.
Oh, yeah.
It shows how folklore evolves and adapts over time, incorporating different cultural traditions.
That's a great point. It's like a cultural tapestry weaving together these different threads of belief and fear and storytelling.
Right. And if you think about it in the context of modern society, it raises some interesting questions. Could the Nām-Gir be a metaphor for the ways we can lose ourselves in the modern world? With all the pressure to conform and the constant bombardment of information, it's easy to feel like we're losing our individuality.
That's a really interesting thought. Like, could the Nām-Gir represent something like social media? You know how it can kind of take over our lives and shape our identities in ways that we don't even realize?
Exactly. I think it's a really thought-provoking way to look at this ancient belief. It shows how these old stories can still be relevant to us today, even though the world has changed so much.
Absolutely, and that is why we love exploring these stories and sharing them with you.
We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of the Nām-Gir. It's a fascinating example of how folklore can reflect our deepest fears and anxieties.
If you like what you heard, Please subscribe to our channel, leave a comment, and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps us out.
And until next time, keep exploring the hidden corners of our world. And be careful who you say yes to.
Especially 3 times in a row.
Especially 3 times in a row.
Okay, thanks everyone.
See you next time.
Bye.